Okay, so now the topic that is the reason why most of you are here, which is how you can sell more homes by helping and serving what I would call, in many cases, an underserved segment of your market, my market, pretty much every market, which is self-employed entrepreneurs and local business owners. And so I want to take a few minutes to highlight and talk about programs that exist and give you some tips on what you need to do to align yourself with someone in your market that can get you access to things like that. And then what I want to spend more of our time on is how you can use these programs or just the idea, right, of being able to help these folks to create more conversation opportunities, which I'm sure is what more or most of you are interested in, not necessarily the nuts and bolts of the programs, but what you can do with those programs to to actually sell more homes. So let me bring up a couple of things here, and then I'm going to share my screen. First and foremost, it's important that you have a great lending partner or lender partner who has access to programs like bank statement loans, non-QM products, and things of that nature. And I'm with eXp Realty, and I've got a great organization, many of which are on here, and many of which may be the reason that you're on here, inviting you here. I also am a licensed loan originator, and I'm with a brokerage called Nexa Mortgage. And one of the many reasons why I'm with Nexa is because we're in almost every state. We're in 48 of 50 states. I think we'll be in 49 by the end of the year, and maybe all 50 somewhere early next year. But we have, more importantly, we have the greatest number of lender partnerships. We have access to more programs and financing companies and lending options than any other business. And so for me, what that does is that makes sure that if there is a program that can help someone, if someone is motivated to buy a home, if a program exists to help them in where they're at currently, we've got it, right? One example of which is a bank statement loan program. Now, if you don't have a relationship with a mortgage broker in your market, I would highly recommend as that being your first step to deploying this idea or utilizing this idea is, and I would, and if you need some help with that, get back to the person that invited you. They can connect you, make the connection with myself, and we can figure that out with you. But one great company that offers these kind of programs is called Oaktree. Now, they're a direct lender, meaning, they are a wholesale lender, meaning you as a real estate agent can't go right to them. You have to find a mortgage broker that has a relationship with them, okay? But I want you to know that so that you can ask, if you're interviewing mortgage brokers, you can ask them, hey, do you have a relationship with Oaktree? And if not, the next question to ask is, what relationships do you have with non-QM lenders? Non-QM, which is non-qualifying, right? Meaning it doesn't fit inside of the traditional box, right? It's not a typical W-2 employee with great credit who would qualify for conventional or FHA, or maybe they've got a veterans voucher or VA voucher, or even like in my market, we're in a rural area, USDA financing. So it doesn't fit in those traditional buckets, right? So you want to ask. Oaktree is a great one, and there are others as well. Oaktree's not the only one, but Oaktree's a great one, and you want to ask non-QM, okay? And if you need help with that, just get back to the person that invited you. We can make the connection and help you find a great partner for that, okay? Some highlights on this is, in particular, this is Oaktree's bank statement loan product. The self-employed entrepreneur or local business owner would have to be at least 1 year out of bankruptcy or foreclosure, which is actually, that's not bad, right? 12 months, okay? Number two, they've got to have at least a 620 FICO, at least a 620 FICO. The other big thing that I would say in finding a great mortgage partner is, are they willing to work with folks who aren't at the FICO score necessary? It's one of the the reasons I love our mortgage team. We offer free credit direction for folks that need help with that. There are lots of companies out there that charge, and some of those are great services and companies. But partnering with someone that sees the long game. Sadly, so many folks in our industry, whether it be real estate agents or mortgage folks, are only interested in the folks that are ready, willing, and able right here today. But the gold in any business is the folks that are interested but not ready right now, and building relationship and building out a pipeline of those folks. So that's critically important. Number three, there are interest-only options and loan amounts up to $4 million. So if you're in a market that have high home prices, like 4 million, I mean, that goes a long way. Number four, it can be on primary or second homes, vacation homes, and even on investment properties. And in particular, this is probably a topic for another one of our marketing masterminds, but they've got programs that are based solely on the financials of the investment property. In other words, if the deal stands on its own, virtually nothing else matters in the deal. You don't even need bank statements, nothing else. If the deal makes sense, they will fund. Number five, custom business bank statement income calculations to fit your borrower needs. In other words, they don't have to do standard calculations. Some programs will take bank statements, right? Business bank statements, and they'll just lop it off and only count 40% or 50%, or some of them even 20% of the amount of the statement. Whereas they will be more flexible about that, right? That they'll apply more common sense logic. The owner occupied, you can, this is if you are doing cash out, because these programs will work for cash out refis or rate and term refis. So you can get up to $1 million cash back. It works on single family, townhome, condo, or multi-unit. Okay, so lots of property types. There are 40-year ARM options. In fact, one of the programs with Oaktree that's growing in popularity is a 40-year amortization with a 10-year interest-only fixed period. So, I'm not suggesting that may be the best financial option in every scenario. What I'm just highlighting is the fact is there's lots of options here. Number nine, up to 80% LTV if they've got a 640, 85% at 660, 90% at 770. If they're below 640, notice, I mean, there's a difference between the 620 and the 640. I think it's 75 or 70% LTV. And these programs are even available on second mortgage products. So let's say you have someone and they've got a ton of equity in their home. They don't want to refi because maybe they're locked in at a low rate, but they'd like to free up some cash to buy another investment property, to buy, I don't know, a business equipment or a business vehicle, or they just want to consolidate some debt, whatever the case may be. There are options as a second mortgage as well. Now, obviously, there's got to be equity and some other factors, but that just gives you an idea programmatically of what options, just so you can have the idea here is that we're going to create conversation opportunities. You want to be at least somewhat educated, right? So that before you refer them to your lending partner, you can at least have an idea, where they're at and what may be available to them. I've got a couple other things here before we pivot into more the conversations around marketing. That is not what I thought. Let me see here. And here, so here's an example of just like a, a pretty blah flyer, but I put it together just to at least share the highlights or the bullets here. And a lot of these things were from that other, but this is an example of a marketing piece that could be created collaboratively with a lending partner. Okay. Now, actually, let's do one more thing here before we pivot to the to the discussion more around the marketing and scripts and templates and things that we can do to create conversation opportunities. These types of loan programs are one way that you can help local self-employed entrepreneurs and local business owners. Another way you could help them get into a home in a non-traditional way would be through a rent-to-own or lease option type of program. And we have a specialist in that in our midst here today. His name is James Brown. James, I don't know. I know we talked about this briefly, but I don't know if you're ready to maybe give a quick overview about what that, what those opportunities could look like for folks before we then go ahead and pivot into more of the marketing conversations.
Sure. Yeah, and we can dive into this and maybe even do another one of these marketing masterminds.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, some people may be aware of other lease option or rent to own programs that are around the country. Most of them are in just the, market centers, metro areas.
Divvy, Home Partners of America, for example, but very specific criteria and boxes and in very specific dense, city populations in most cases. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yep.
And, they, like you said, they've got their own box. Like Home Partners has a pretty low barrier to entry as far as the money paid up front. It's like a security deposit for a rental, but you're limited to, kind of cookie cutter homes, 3-bedroom, 2-bath in metro areas. And they've got to have it's now a 620 credit score or higher. So,
yep.
They're almost ready for a loan,
Yeah. Yeah.
In
fact, with us, they would be in most cases, Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Like you were going over all those programs. There's a lot of programs that a lot of people aren't aware of.
Yep.
That we can actually get people into houses. And if I can get somebody into a house with a loan, I never would suggest doing rent to own if they've got that option.
Yep.
But it is a good option if they can't get a loan currently and really want to get into a house or need to get into a house, like, moving or whatever, job transfer, that kind of thing, where, they don't want to have to move twice. And in this market, even finding a rental is a pain. So if we can get them into a rental and have the option to buy, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So I'll just kind of dive real quick into what makes our program different. And this applies to any state in the US. We can work with any of you wherever you are,
yep.
As long as those clients fit the program. And so what we're looking for is people that have around 10% of the purchase price to put down. That fits self-employed people oftentimes. They've maybe been writing off too much on their taxes and not claiming enough income, to the detriment of them going to buy a house. So we can get them into a house and have them kind of flip the switch on that and, start claiming enough income. So they may need 1 or 2 years, something like that. So as long as they've got that 10% to put down, we can probably help them. And we've also got flexibility with where the property is. We can do rural. I have to sell it to an investor. And credit score, we don't ignore it, but we're not set to a box where it's got to be 620 or higher. So that's basically our program.
Yeah.
It's got flexibility.
So if you have somebody, if through these conversations, you have somebody that would fit that, generally speaking. Get back to whoever invited you here. They can help you make the connection with James. James has a network and connections that can help put those together. Does it mean that, there's a guarantee? No, but just generally speaking, if that criteria is there, it at least creates the opportunity for James through his network and his business partner's network to maybe see if they can find an investor to buy the property on behalf of the client and then lease option or rent to own it back to them. Okay. Now, thanks, James. Now, more of the fun part, and where I'm going to encourage interaction, and let's have this be an actual sort of mastermind brainstorming type of session. So I put some thoughts and ideas on a document, but I didn't want to put too much work in, because I think part of the beauty of this is us collaborating together and coming up with great ideas or different angles or different hooks or different approaches to create conversation opportunities, and thinking about this through the lens of messaging that would work on social media, that would work through DMs and private messages. Okay, so when I said social media, I'm more like posts, right? Posting, DMs and private messages, short form videos, which was our topic last week on the marketing mastermind. And if you missed that and would like access to that, just get back to whoever invited you here, and we can get you access to that. Email, text, and for those of you, some of you, not my cup of tea, but some of you like to pick up the phone, right? And so simple line of questioning or scripts and templates that can open a conversation. So I'm going to share the screen here again. And I put a couple of ideas on here, but I really want to open this up, whether you open your line and share or you share through chat. And what we'll do is we'll compile all of these ideas and all of the examples and scripts, and even create some social media content. We're going to compile that all together, and we'll make that available to any of the guests here today. But here are just a couple of ideas that I came up with quickly, and then we'll kind of open it up. So number one, if you or someone you know is a self-employed entrepreneur or looking or a local business owner who's looking to purchase a home or investment property, let's chat. Okay, that's more of a direct. I tend to like questions better than direct statements, but it can work nonetheless, right? Another example, with our special financing options, we can help you purchase a new home, cash out refi, and existing home or purchase cash flow investment property. I have no idea where. Oh, I have no idea where that was me, I guess, just brainstorming, and I lost track. Here's another one. Got bank statements? ? We've got a mortgage for you, or we've got financing for you. Okay, something along those lines. This is a great 3-step formula that can work for many different ways, many different applications, right? Can you help us out? If this was an email, I would say, can you help us out, Harry? Right? I'd even put their name in it. We're looking to help a few local self-employed entrepreneurs. I've got local in there twice. A few self-employed entrepreneurs and local business owners. Or I could just say local self-employed entrepreneurs or business owners buy a home this winter. Who do you know that's thinking about buying right now? Who do you know that's thinking about buying right now? Okay. Those are just a few very simple ideas. What ideas can we add? Who's got some thoughts or ideas, simple one-liners, or even examples that you've used along these lines that you'd be willing to openly share with the group? Go ahead. Who was David? I think you were raising your hand.
Yeah, just a question. I mean, would this work for the like a buyer that I had in the past who was a W-2 employee, has bought 2 rental houses, left his W-2 employment, now wants to go in
100%
real estate investment portfolio?
As long, yeah, 100%. As long as he or she could use a bank statement program, Or if the investment property stands on its own,
Right.
he could even do the DSCR loan could even be an option. And as long as there's some equity, decent FICO score, and whether it's bank statement or the DSCR, there's definitely a number of different options that would be available. And
So for just, I don't want to take up all the airtime.
no, all good.
For that investment property, I mean, do you account for like a 10%, 25% vacancy if they're looking into a property?
It depends on the lender and the loan product. It just, the answer is, I mean, I can't give you one standard answer, but, if we had particulars, we could then go and say, these are 3 potential options or loan program options that might work for this scenario.
So it's property specific then?
With the DSCR product, yes.
Okay.
It's property specific. And some of the calculations would be factored in by local statistics and so forth. So there's a number of different things that factor into that, and it just depends on which program type and which lender, and it just fitting the best option for the scenario or the situation. But there are certainly options for this client.
And just last question, how quickly could you close on one of those DSCR loans?
I would say, I mean, it's possible to do 21 days, maybe even a little less. But I would say, 21 to 30 days, generally speaking, as long as the biggest factor in that oftentimes is the client. And what I mean by that is the sooner they get all of the docs required and the faster they comply when the lender comes back and says, hey, we need this one, not this one. Like that's typically the biggest thing that causes delays. So if you've got somebody that's on the ball and super motivated and going to be, I guess for lack of a better word, compliant with document requests, it can move along and be approved quite quickly.
Thank you.
Yeah, you bet. Especially now that because the other big factor in that is appraisers. Like when the market was crazy, appraisers oftentimes were getting so backed up, they're not as busy now. So you can tend to be able to get appraisals a lot faster, which just means that things can move along a lot quicker.
Thanks, Josh.
Yeah, you bet. Great questions. And so David illustrates a great point here. Even if you don't do anything proactively, whether it be sending out an email or sending out a text message or creating a video or whatever, but it even if this just turns on your reticular activating system and you think of a client like the one that David mentioned, or you just have it in your top of mind awareness as you're talking with clients, it means that more people you talk to you could potentially help, right? Because if we're only looking at things through the lens of they've got to fit in this perfect little box for me to be able to help them, we're missing out on a lot of opportunity, right? And I know that the best real estate professionals are the ones that are the best problem solvers, right? And so these types of programs allow you to become a better problem solver, whether it's with your own clients, but also, I mean, I'm sure we've got a lot of experience in the Zoom room here today. And I mean that in a great way, but I would guess that many of you have had experiences where you're the listing agent and the deal starts to fall apart because the buyer, they can't actually close for one reason or another, right? So having the ability to be a problem solver and say, have you looked at an alternate financing option, right? Whatever the reason, why they may not have gotten the final clear to close or whatever, that can help save your butt and your client's butt in certain scenarios or situations. James.
Yeah, I just wanted to throw out an idea that I always share with other agents. When you are doing a listing, select seller financing or rent to own as an option for financing, and obviously run it by your listing client. That can generate some opportunities for buyers that normally couldn't get financing for that property. And even if it's not for that property, they may become, rent to own buyers or regular buyers if we can get them into one of these programs, because they've reached out on that listing you've got.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah, totally. All right. Well, I would love to hear thoughts or ideas, but while we're waiting for that, let me tell you, if this idea is resonating with you, here are the different ways that you can take an idea like this and go out and create conversation opportunities with your existing assets. None of these will cost you any money, right? Number one would be, what do you want? This line is open there. There we go. Number one would be create a short form video around this idea. Go back and if you missed last week, get back to whoever invited you here today and they can get you access to that session. We talked about creating short form videos, 60 seconds or less, and then how and where to syndicate those. There are at least 5 to 7 different ways that you can utilize a short form video. And it could be as simple as this. Hey, if you or someone you know is a local business owner or self-employed entrepreneur right here in Central PA, and they're interested in buying a home or getting started investing in real estate, but they haven't been able to find financing that fits their need, let's connect them, or I would love to chat with them because we've got some amazing programs that may be able to help them achieve that dream of home ownership. Comment below or connect with me with my information in the profile, right? And it could be a little bit more polished than that, let's say, but it doesn't even really have to be, right? Create that short form video, TikTok, Instagram Reels, Facebook Reels, Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube Shorts, and then take that YouTube Shorts and put it on your Google business listing, right? You've got one piece of content that you can syndicate, make a blog post out of the YouTube and embed the YouTube short video into that. Okay, that's one way. Second way is most of you are in areas where if you go and search for Facebook groups, go and search for local Facebook groups. Number one, that you're going to have groups, like local groups. But number two, most of you, even in my little market, there are groups specifically for local businesses or local business owners. And you could tactfully post in there this idea. And what I found is that, like, a lot of times business owners, entrepreneurs, like, they're less offended by things like that than the general public when you make a post like that, making an offer. And you could simply say, hey, appreciate all of our local business owners here in Central PA. If you've been thinking about buying a home or investing in real estate here in the area, and you've been struggling to find good financing options, I would love to chat with you. Send me a private message. And I would, and let's see what, if we can help you in some way or another. Okay. It's not like a hard offer, or you're not pushing hard anywhere, anything like that. You're just making a soft pitch in Facebook groups. And I think you'd be surprised, how many interactions you may uncover through that process. Okay. So that's number two. Number three, emailing your entire database. And you could use that. You could use that 3-step. Can you help us out, James? ? We're looking to help local self-employed entrepreneurs and business owners who are interested in buying a home or investing in real estate this winter. We've got some incredible programs that they may not be aware of. Who do you know that's thinking about buying this winter? Okay. It's a simple sort of direct ask. You could also send that as a text message for anyone that, for those that know me, tomorrow morning, Tuesday morning, every Tuesday morning, 10:30 a.m. Eastern is what I call Texting Tuesday. And we share different text scripts that are designed and crafted to be conversation starters, create conversation opportunities, right? And so you could send something along those lines again, like, hey, do you know any self-employed entrepreneurs or local business owners who are looking to invest in real estate? ? We'd love to help them out. Okay. We'd love to help them out.
Hi, Josh.
Yeah.
This is Hazel.
Yeah. Hi, Hazel.
I thought I'd put in my 2 cents. I don't usually say anything, but I've been in business for about 20 years and I'm in a semi-rural area. But over the years, I've managed to work with different loan officers. And I always find out what their rules are and what they will and will not do. And I have 3 that I use all the time. They have totally different requirements. But one of them was so good that he worked 8 months with one of my customers to get them where they were qualified to buy a house.
100%.
And so anybody that's really needs help, and I try to work with the buyers too, so I have some idea of where they stand.
Yeah, there's a lot in that little 60-second share there. The importance of having great lender partners for your business, number one, and number two, having at least enough working knowledge to be able to know, okay, based upon what you're telling me, Mr. or Mrs. potential client, I think this is the person that you probably want to have a conversation with first, right? Let's start here, and then we can explore other options if that doesn't fit.
I also had a mortgage license.
Right on.
For a long time too.
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful. So I think, important there to A, have a great partner, and B, understand at least the basics of some of those programs that might fit the criteria of the audience that we're trying to create a conversation with and connect with. Okay. Some great comments here. Sham, that's pretty much my specialty, out of the box thinking and solving challenges. Yeah. I mean, problem solvers, better we are at that, the more highly paid we become. Mark Webster shared a great post by Zillow. I know I'm not a huge fan of Zillow, but we try to find ways to turn it into more business, but they are doing something interesting and cool with Kellogg's, where chance for buyers to win payment. Now, just know that that's also a chance for Zillow to get more business one way or the other. Okay. So proceed with caution, but a great share nonetheless. There was one other thing. Oh, and this is a great recommendation. So we talked about Facebook, local Facebook groups. Ryan, mentioned that if there aren't any local groups, for example, there aren't any groups in your local area supporting local business owners, you could be the one that creates that and goes and builds that group and that audience. And weave in that question. Hey, do you need any, and it could be even business funding, whatever the case may be, you can weave in that question. John asked, I think you're asking, are we licensed in Florida or Virginia? If that's on the mortgage side, my mortgage team, we can do loans in PA and Florida, but Nexa Mortgage, who is our brokerage, we're in 48 out of 50, and Virginia's in there. So one way or another, we can help facilitate that. Pete says, I noticed that the people that get offended in the group are typically the moderators and the admins. And I would say yes. And that is generally speaking, they are often not the actual, or not the or an actual business owner, right? So, but you want to be respectful and abide by the rules and regulations of the group as well. And then one last great share here as it relates to this topic and these types of programs. And then Harry is connecting with your local real estate investor association, your local RIAs, or business networking groups, right? knowing that you've got programs that could potentially help them, and birds of a feather flock together, right? So like when you connect with those groups, they know more people, right? And if you connect with a local investors association, for example, you're now opening yourself to that entire network and creating more opportunities there. And the benefit to you as the real estate agent is, if you can help them find more programs that allow them to buy more properties, like David was asking earlier, you get more opportunities to bring them good deals. And thereby, I like to, it's always nice to, if you have one client and you do multiple transactions, right? Like you're working with the same person over and over and over. Anyway, Harry, go ahead.
As you go through your day and supporting local small businesses, just ask them the question when you're
Absolutely.
there. I'm going to the dry cleaners today. I'm going to ask her.
Yeah. Your local coffee shop.
Mhm.
Whatever local establishments that you, and actually this is a good, it's reminding me, there's a, it's a pizza and microbrew, and I've known the owner for a while now, and I need to hit him up and remind him that we've got options, because he's got a great investment portfolio as well, and always looking to add to it. So if nothing else from today, at least sit down with a pen and paper, or if you prefer to do it on your phone, and think through who are 5, 10, 15, 25 local business owners and or self-employed entrepreneurs that you know in your market, and make a hit list, right, of people that you can reach out to and ask that question, or bring up the topic, right? And given the time of year, you can start with wishing them happy Thanksgiving or something like that, right? But yeah, just bringing that up and making them aware. Hey, I just was made aware of some pretty incredible programs for local business owners who are looking to to buy real estate, whether as an investment or a second home purchase. And I thought of you, right? I thought of you. Your name came to mind. Are you thinking about buying any real estate, or know any other local business owners that might be? Okay. It's just a matter of, again, that reticular activating system, getting that, just raising your awareness, so that when you're having these, conversations that you're already having throughout your day, it creates more opportunities. Can you use Airbnb incomes, Larry? That's a good question. It depends. Well, number one, if it's the bank statement program, that's going to be in the bank statements. So, but the problem is, if it's not in there for 12 months, they would factor that, it would get divided by the 12 months, essentially, right? So I think the simple answer is yes. The more convoluted answer is, how that would get calculated or included. But I'd be happy to try and figure that out with you, or if you have specific examples, et cetera. And by the way, these are great programs for us. We're all in here. We're all self-employed entrepreneurs and business owners, right? And we should all be, well, I almost said something that was be borderline inappropriate. Get higher on your own supply, but we should be investing in real estate too, right? I said almost, and then I said it anyway. Pete, go ahead.
Yeah, just out of curiosity, well, out of the thing that you put in there for your Google Docs, and you had that statement as like, can you help us out, or whatever it is, thought process just kind of hit me. Because I know here in Philly, like you go to certain businesses, the mailman delivers mail, and a lot of times the mail just sits there on the countertop. So you have people consistently coming into that business, the mail is sitting right there. So my thought is just, like a postcard being sent out, hey, can you help us out? Whatever your blurb is, how many other people are going to sit there and come by into that business and actually see that? And if you have like a text number or something like, hey, text here. So that might be like a side thing on there. So just my thought process, my mind.
This is a great share. this is a great share. So we can add to our, now that this idea would cost you some money, but for example, the direct mail platform that I use and love and recommend about as highly as I can anything is a platform called thanks.io. You can get a free account at growwithjosh.com/thanks. Growwithjosh.com/thanks. With that platform, you could choose, for example, you could go in there and say, I want to send a postcard to 100 local business owners, the 100 closest local business owners to whether it be your home address or your office address. And that all can happen in there, and you can send them a postcard like this. Hey, you know, have you been thinking about, you know, buying an investment property? Let's chat. We've got some incredible programs for local business owners. I'll work on that actually. I'm going to include that concept in the sort of collateral, the marketing collateral, the resources that we'll put together with this mastermind, and I'll include that in there. Rosemary. I'm putting the link in the chat. It's growwithjosh.com/thanks. Thanks, like thank you or Thanksgiving, but just thanks. So I put that in the chat there. That's a great share, a great idea, right? And I have been a proponent, you know, for 15 plus years of niche marketing and owning a niche. In fact, I got started in real estate as an investor, and I got my license to work with real estate investors. That was the niche that I was focused on. Now, you know, all manner of things have changed, but regardless, the cliche or the quote that the riches are in the niches still holds firm today. And there is no doubt in my mind that if you wanted to make local business owners the niche that you pursue with your, you know, with the efforts that you're putting forth in growing your database, that this is a great opportunity. There's no question about it. Now, that doesn't mean that you ignore your existing database, your existing sphere of influence and past clients, right? But if you know, it could be an audience that you're proactively pursuing to grow your database and get more business from. And you know, this could potentially be a great one for those if this really resonates for you. I don't know how to say this name. Fian or Fion. I apologize. Was asking about information on first-time buyers down payment assistance programs. Those are definitely, not that they went anywhere, but they are definitely making a comeback in the sense that, like, because the market has slowed and interest rates have gone up, there are, you know, it's more realistic to get a buyer's offer accepted with a DPA program. So whether you reach out to your local lenders or if you'd like to, you know, have a conversation with, you know, someone at our mortgage company, those programs are certainly out there. There's also programs that would be specific or may be specific to the county you're in or the local lenders that service your area. So I would add that to your to-do list if that's a niche that you want to focus on and you enjoy working with first-time home buyers and you want to really own that niche, like, then you've got to do the work, the legwork of finding what's available in your area as far as those programs, and then utilizing that knowledge to build your database, to create conversation opportunities, and to be of value and service to that audience, right? You know, anyway. Can buyers refi out of a DSCR loan to another DSCR at a lower rate, conventional loan, if rate becomes absolutely. Now, certain ones will have you know, different periods of time that they may be locked for, or that there may be some kind of prepayment penalty, but generally speaking, the answer is yes. It's just a matter of how quickly, usually those are pretty, not usually, they're always defined up front. It's a matter of figuring out, where that makes sense or what the best option is. Brandon says, yeah, kind of agreeing that you can use Airbnb income, but it must be seasoned, i.e. you pay taxes on it. It is included. Well, but for a bank statement loan, that income could be included on the bank statement. But if it hasn't been there for 12 months, it would get spread out over the 12 months in most cases anyway. Is there a limit on investment properties you can buy using a DSCR loan if the investor has 4 other investment properties? That is a non-QM product. So generally speaking, there's really no limitations. Now, that said, certain lenders may have a limit you may have with them, right? So like Oak Tree, I can't remember, but you can only have so many with them. But that doesn't mean that you couldn't go to another lender potentially who's got a higher risk tolerance, let's say. How about a HECM reverse mortgage to buy a 1 to 4 unit properties? Yeah, I mean, that's certainly possible, Mark. We can certainly chat about that, but that exists for sure. Let's see here. My niche has been working with real estate investors. I'm also an investor for the first 13 years. Right on. Good stuff. Good stuff. Can investor convert a home to a 2-family with a second? Well, if you're talking about with the financing component, the easy answer is yes, but obviously there's other factors in that situation, right? Does the zoning allow for it? Do they need to get a zoning variance or whatever? But if there's equity in the property, theoretically, yes. The easy answer is theoretically yes. Adele had shared a great resource as it relates to down payment assistance. It's just downpaymentresource.com, and you can see what's available in your area. That's great. Will they be able to count the income from an apartment, Holly? Again, it depends on the program. And are you talking about this situation of the projected income? Potentially. Again, there's a lot of that's a little bit of a specific example, and there's a lot of components to that. But I'd be happy to explore that and see what they're thinking, and is it something that's already in process or is it something that just getting started with? Okay, Larry, this is a good one, I think. I'm in a second home market. For me to create for anyone who wants the luxury of a vacation home when they think it costs too high, buy a dream home vacation with no income verification. Well, I'd be careful with that because DSCR would not be necessarily a vacation home. I'd be happy to chat with you, Larry, on that. I like the idea there, but you just have to be careful, I think, on some of how that is worded, right? No income verification. I mean, I guess technically speaking, it's not income verification, but there would have to be, yeah, with the bank statement or the DSCR. Yeah, I mean, as long as they're not living in it, I suppose, for more than X amount of weeks per year.
And my vacation, I guess I'm live now, right? And
Yep.
My vacation home rentals really basically happened in a 10-week period. I'm in the Jersey Shore area.
Yeah.
So, I mean, obviously somebody has a place in Florida, because I'm also licensed in Florida. That's 12 months a year, depending on the situation or where
Right.
the property is located.
Yep.
I mean, it could be worded, I guess, probably a little differently. I agree, but
Yeah, I mean, I like the idea though, and where your head's at, right? You're taking your market and your audience and trying to fit it to create a compelling unique value proposition that opens the conversation, right? Because that's really all this is about, is having enough knowledge of the products and programs that exist to give you the confidence to start creating those conversation opportunities and turning those opportunities into clients, right? And having the relationships for making that connection when you've got somebody, when you've got when you got somebody to bite on the bait that you threw out there, right? You got somebody that's on the line. Now, who can I take this to, right? To vet them and to identify what programs are available to them, right? And so one, I would say an important lesson from today that doesn't even relate to self-employed entrepreneurs and local business owners is you have to have, in my opinion, you've got to have lender relationships with local lenders, right? That are specific to your market, and also with mortgage brokers that can shop a client's needs to, a variety of people, right? Because, like for example, First National Bank is a local lender that I've closed some transactions with and clients with over the last 24 months, let's say. And they've got a couple of amazing programs, but the person has to fit in this very small box, okay? Versus being able to take an investor or a local business owner to a mortgage broker, give them the scenario. Here's what I'm looking to do. I want to buy an investment property up to 200,000, blah, 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 whatever the other factors are. And then we can go out and say, all right, here are 2, 3, 4, 5 options that may work. And then knowing that once we find the deal, we can take and shop that to those 1, 2, 3, 4, or 2, 3, 4, or 5 options, right? And so, in my opinion, is you've all got to have that, whether you want to work with investors or not, you're going to have clients, over time in this business, that you've got to have, that helps you be a better problem solver, right? By having multiple options and partners. Debbie with a great tip, contact for rent by owners to see if they would be interested in offering a rent to own option or selling. For rent by owners, absentee owners is just a great audience to be building relationships with, because if they're not interested in lease optioning or rent to owning, the next question is, are you looking to add to your rental portfolio? Right? Most are going to be at least somewhat interested in one or the other. I might consider selling it or lease optioning it for the right price, or no, I'm keeping this in my inventory. Here's why. But I would be looking for similar to this. And if they say no, I'm not looking to add to my inventory, it could be, are you just not interested? Or have you not found, good lending options to help you with that? Right? So, no is rarely the end of the road, right? Sometimes it is, but if you ask good questions, there's usually an opportunity, right? No, I'm not interested. Do you know anybody who is, right? Do you know any other local business owners or investors who are looking to add to their inventory, right? Those are great. No means not yet, 100%. Or it means, how am I going to pivot that? It means an opportunity for you to find out who in their circle of influence might be a yes, right? Because they likely know somebody if you ask good questions. Anyway, all right. So here's what we're going to do from today's session. Number one, if you want the recording of this, it was a little bit meandering and wandering, but there's some good stuff in there. If you would like the recording and the additional resources that we will compile and better organize, and what I'll also include there is very specific examples, like exact copy and paste email, exact copy and paste text message, exact copy and paste Facebook group message, exact copy and paste social media post, right? We'll get very, very specific. If you would like those, get back to whoever invited you here. And once we have that together, they will get that to you as our way of saying thanks for investing some time here on a Monday morning, masterminding with us. So that's number one. Number two, next Monday, we're going to be talking about the fastest way for you to get into actual interactive conversations with motivated buyers right now. And I'm going to share examples of how we're doing that. We literally, if Mike's on there, we've got anywhere from 5 to 10 inbound conversations, new inbound conversations happening daily from this strategy that I'll be sharing on next Monday. I don't know what that date is. What's today? November. Who knows the date? November 21st. So November 28th, that's what we'll be sharing. And then on December 5th, we're going to explore some strategies and mastermind on going after expired listings, as those are certainly growing in number as the market shifts and changes. We've got some cool stuff to share with that one as well. I see many of you posting your email. We'll make sure that we get all of those. If you were invited here as a guest of someone else in our organization, make sure you get back with them and they will be happy to share that with you. For folks that are in my organization, this is our only huddle this week. No huddle Wednesday or Thursday. We'll be back to our normal schedule next week of Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday. However, I will be live for Texting Tuesday tomorrow morning, 10:30 a.m. Eastern, and we do have our big group coaching in the private team suite at 12:30 Eastern. I don't know if the Friday sessions are happening, Pat Hayes's Freedom Friday or Larry White's, but keep an eye out for notifications of that. Okay, thanks again to all of our guests. Thanks again to all of those who were willing participants. Thanks to those that shared wins at the beginning. I wish you all of the best. Here's a great last question. What is thanks.io for? Direct mail, postcards, note cards, letters. It is phenomenal. Go and create a free account at growwithjosh.com/thanks. And then email mike@growwithjosh.com. And we've got an entire members portal that has a bunch of examples, step-by-step use cases, etc. And we can even help you create a campaign. And we'll create a campaign around today's topic, and that will be included in there, as well as the follow-up for today's session. Thanks again, everybody. Happy Thanksgiving to one and all. Spend some time remembering and thinking about all that we all have to be grateful and thankful for. Hope to see many of you next week on Monday for Monday Marketing Mastermind. Take care and hopefully talk soon.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you. Same to you.
Thank you.
Bye.